One thing that Koreans do often that I absolutely despise is looking down on Southeast Asians, that they're somehow not as good, that it's an insult to be mistaken for Filipinos or Thai. And a lot of this comes from Koreans' perception that these countries are poor, they're less developed, which are very outdated perceptions, by the way. And not to mention, Koreans, like many East Asians, idolize pale skin. They tend to just not like darker skin tones. Just look at the issue of Copinos, where Korean men go to the Philippines, sleep with Filipino women who become pregnant, and the men just run off back to Korea, abandoning the mother and their children. And a big part of why this happens is because there are a lot of Korean men who think these women in these countries are just playthings for them because they come from a richer country with more money. It's an absolutely disgusting mentality. But Koreans should not treat people from the ASEAN countries like this, not just because it's the decent thing to treat everyone with respect and dignity, but also for the reason of karma, because have Koreans forgotten Byongjahoran when the Qing invaded Korea, called Joseon at the time, in 1636? The Qing dynasty was a country raised by the Jurchens, known as Yeojin in Korean. The Jurchen people lived in northeastern China. Right above Korea, they were semi-nomads who generally lived in tribes without a central authority. And for the longest time, Koreans treated the Jurchens terribly. There's a passage in the veritable records of the Joseon dynasty, otherwise known as Joseon Wangjusilok, that writes, "These Jurchens are beneath us and they are our servants." Joseon would repeatedly attack and harass the Jurchens. They would invade and take land. They would decimate their people. They considered them savages that needed to be put in their place. Well, guess what? These savages raised an empire. They united under Nurhaci, defeated and humiliated the Ming dynasty. Then they invaded Joseon, got the king to surrender, in which the king of Joseon knelt 3 times and bowed 9 times in front of Qing's emperor at the time, Hong Taiji, and promised to be their servant state. This part of history is called 삼전도의 굴욕, the humiliation at Samjeondo. This is how proud the Joseon people were, that they recorded this as humiliation because they never thought these people that were below them would ever grow to be so strong. But this was not humiliation. This was karma. And you know what? This can happen again. Sure, Korean culture is riding a high right now. Korea is economically advanced and whatnot. But there is a future where Southeast Asian countries become so much stronger and richer than us and have way more cultural cachet than us. It can happen. And you know, at the present state of how Korea is going, it will happen. And the kind of relationship we will have with them then will be determined by the kind of relationship we have with them now. It's not that people should be nice to people only because of the fear of potential payback later down the line. Being nice and giving respect is the bare minimum. I'm saying this because there are a lot of Koreans who need to hear it this way, because a lot of Koreans instinctively put people in levels and treat them accordingly, not knowing that these levels are completely arbitrary and they also shift all the time. Especially when Southeast Asians have been nothing but amazing to Korea, even when we were the poorest country in the world. Because have we forgotten how the Philippines and Thailand deployed thousands of troops to help the South in the Korean War? So to all the Koreans who think that they're better than others, they're better than Southeast Asians, get out of here with that. 그런 생각을 한다는 것 자체가 네 인간성 급을 알려주는 거야. 반성해. 반성해.